That time everyone can go to queue at the show flat and just anyhow book one unit and then sell to the other buyer on the next day, and they actually make profit already. That's why you can find a lot of people queuing at the show flat overnight. Last Monday, the Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Heng Swee-keat said that the government is paying close attention to the property market in Singapore. Hello, I'm the property strategist Steven Chong. So is the cooling measure coming soon? The government is paying close attention to the property market in Singapore, and they don't want to see the property market runs ahead of the underlying economic fundamentals. This is the hint that the government is going to implement the cooling measures. Look at the private property price index in the fourth quarter. The price has increased 2.1%. And what more scary is the HDB resale price index increased even steeper, 3.1% as compared to the previous quarter. When you look at the Singapore GDP, it actually down by 5.8% in 2020. Actually, when we split into the 4 quarters, right, you may find that the third quarter and the fourth quarter is showing a sign of recovery. Okay, this is the graph to show you that how in the past the cooling measure affect the property market price. Here I want to show you the property price trend for the private residential old sales. This one include the new launch and the resale. Before 2010, right, that time everyone can go to queue at the show flat and just anyhow book one unit and then sell to the other buyer on the next day, and they actually make profit already. That's why you can find a lot of people queuing at the show flat overnight. And after that, the government tried to mitigate this and they started to implement the seller stamp duty. However, thereafter the pricing still keep going upwards until 2011. The government start to implement the additional buyer stamp duty for those who are buying for the second or the third property. But the price still increasing only until 2013 when the government introduced the TDSR, total debt servicing ratio, which is actually the main factor to pull down the property market price over the years. And until 2017, when the government are trying to relax the cooling measure by shorten the seller stamp duty from 4 years to 3 years, then the home prices start to increase sharply until mid of 2018 when the government have to cool down the market by increasing the additional buyer stamp duty and reduce the loan limit. Previously, we can loan up to 80%, but now only can loan up to 75%. And I remember that time during the cooling measure night, right? A lot of people actually queuing at the show flat until the midnight. I remember it was 5 a.m. around that time. Then only I can go back home, so that the buyer can secure their 80% loan and also paying for the lower additional buyer stamp duty. And this cooling measure actually quite effective until recently. When you look at this end of last year, the volume and the pricing start to spike, even though it's a recession year. Okay, I want to share you something interesting here is that the private residential resale actually doesn't really increase much. You look at how was the performance over the years. It's like the pricing has never been increased since 2013. You look at here, 2013 the price start to slow down, going down a bit, and then it increasing slowly and steadily until 2019. But for the new launch, is the one that increased quite a lot. So this is the one that the government might want to look into. This could be the dilemma for the government as well, because if they're going to cool down the price, it will affect the resale pricing also. So they might want to come out the cooling measure that only control the new launch price but not the resale price. So now we'll take a look at the HDB resale price. Before 2013, the price every year is increasing by double-digit percentage of increment. This is very scary. HDB flats price should be affordable to everyone. So they implement this MSR, which is the killer of the COV. So previously, before 2013, a lot of HDB flats are having COV. It's very normal for any buyers to pay between 50,000 to even 100,000 cash over valuation. Thereafter, the price has been decreasing. Before 2016, a lot of people actually understand the strategy, how to do the decoupling for the husband and wife who owns the HDB flat, so that the spouse can invest another private property without paying the ABSD. But since 1st of April 2016, there's a restriction against the HDB decoupling. So that's why sell one buy two has become the most popular strategy even for now. So the price still keep going downward until just recently. I think mid of last year, the price for the HDB is starting to pick up. And especially it is getting more obvious for the past 2 quarters when the volume and the price pick up at the same time. So if the price is going to rise sharp again, definitely the government have to come up something to control the price. You look at the Q2 2020, the transaction volume was quite low due to the circuit breaker. But thereafter, the third and the fourth quarter, it increasing quite a lot. And what surprised the authority is that usually the fourth quarter of every year, the transaction volume tends to go low because of the holiday season. A lot of people traveling overseas. But this year, due to the pandemic, many people cannot travel overseas. So this doesn't really affect the property market. And that's why you see there is a spike in the volume transaction in end of the year 2020. What will be the cooling measure? There is a lot of people concerned about. Okay, last year actually the government start to concern already. They're saying that the HDB flats in the prime location won't be exclusively for the rich, meaning that they want the HDB flat to sell at the affordable prices. This is the news last year. A lot of people thinking this should be referring to the Keppel BTO, which is part of the development in the Greater Southern Waterfront. Okay, and this is the most recent news. Prices of HDB resale flats, private home prices rise 2020, sparking the concern about affordability. So I think the government is ready to implement something really soon, especially for the HDB resale flats, because the price trend for the HDB resale is increasing very steep as compared to the private residential. And the government never say that private home should be affordable. They only mention that HDB flat must be affordable, just that they don't want the private property market going too high to reach the bubble state. So what do you think the government is going to implement to cool down the property market? Is this an advantage to you or disadvantage to you? So leave your comment below to voice out your opinion. In the next episode, I'm going to discuss why the price keep going up despite having a recession. So I believe this is the topic that worth to discuss, because a lot of people also concerned about the property market pricing. Why is it going opposite way from the economy fundamentals? So see you in the next video. Bye bye.